The supervisor began calling her names such as ape and Congo, mocking the employee, saying she was a, quote, ape princess swinging through trees.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Boss Watch is a segment that we do every week where we take a look at what bosses are up to in the southern United States and her colonies, because bosses are all the time breaking the law and nobody talks about it on the news, and so that's why we're here. Heading over to Florida to start out with, a 29-year-old employee of a Florida marine construction company drowned in 5 feet of water after being pinned under a fallen crane in March of 2023. Federal workplace safety investigators determined that the company could have prevented the fatality by following required safety standards. Employees of Upper Keys Marine Construction LLC were installing a piling foundation for a residential boat lift when the crane tipped over and fell into the water. The employee, who was inappropriately tasked to ride the load of the crane, became pinned under the crane's hammer and drowned. The U.S. Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration found the company violated federal safety standards when they failed to have a life-saving skiff immediately available during offshore operations. They permitted an uncertified crane operator to operate the equipment. They failed to comply with the crane's manufacturer's stability and load capacity, and they permitted workers to ride the load attached to the boom of a crane during pile driving operations. They also operated a crane that was not physically secured to the barge. OSHA issued the company 9 serious citations and proposed about $92,000 in penalties, an amount set by federal statute for the violations. The company has 15 business days from receipt of their citations to comply, request an informal conference with OSHA, or contest the findings. Over in Oklahoma, Worldwide Printing and Distribution Incorporated, a commercial printing, direct mailing, and direct marketing company operating out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, violated federal law when a supervisor harassed an employee with racial and national origin slurs after the employee shared her DNA ancestry results. The EEOC charged in a lawsuit last week. According to the EEOC suit, in or around August of 2022, the employee received results from an at-home DNA test kit showing she had ancestry from Cameroon and the Congo. When the worker's supervisor learned about her DNA results, the supervisor began calling her names such as ape and Congo. The supervisor also began mocking the employee, saying she was, quote, swinging through trees and was a, quote, ape princess looking for a, quote, king. The employee repeatedly asked the supervisor to stop the harassment, to no avail. When the employee complained about the harassment to a higher level manager, he participated in the harassment and did nothing to stop it. The EEOC charges that the harassment was so intolerable the employee was forced to resign. But not even her resignation stopped the harassment. According to the lawsuit, the supervisor obtained the employee's phone number and sent her a text calling her Congo following her resignation. The EEOC filed suit in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Oklahoma after first attempting to reach a pre-litigation settlement via its reconciliation process. They are seeking monetary relief for the victim, an order prohibiting similar discrimination and harassment, and other relief. Over in Louisiana, EcoServe LLC is an industrial cleaning company in Abbeville, Louisiana. They violated federal law by engaging in a pattern or practice of refusing to hire applicants who were black, female, or 40 years old or over, and by firing a human resources employee who opposed the discriminatory practices. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission charged in a lawsuit filed last week. According to the lawsuit, EcoServe instructed a former human resources employee to limit the number of African American workers she hired. The HR official also became aware of other discriminatory practices of not hiring women or older workers for non-office positions. The HR official also opposed EcoServe's practices by refusing to discriminate and informing a manager that she believed the company's hiring practices violated the law. Shortly thereafter, EcoServe retaliated against her by firing her. The lawsuit alleges that evidence confirmed that EcoServe routinely engaged in discrimination by denying employment to black, female, and older applicants for non-salaried, non-office office positions. The EEOC filed suit in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Louisiana after first trying to reach a pre-litigation settlement through its conciliation process. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. We have several dishonorable mentions this week. A worker at Six Flags Over Georgia was killed after she fell out of a van and hit her head on the asphalt. The worker was a scare actor being transported with others during a Halloween activity at the park. Employees reached out to a large Twitter account about Georgia and said that this happened because they were, and always were, being transported in a van with the doors open and, quote, no way for the scare actors to secure themselves inside. Inspectors with the U.S. Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration observed employees of A1A Roofing Contractor, LLC, of Loxahatchee in Florida, working without fall protection on pitched roofs at heights of up to 32 feet. They also found the subcontractor allowed one worker to use a broken harness and failed to train employees on how to recognize and prevent falls. OSHA cited the company for similar violations in September of 2022. OSHA is proposing $160,000 in penalties. The U.S. DOL recovered $37,000 in stolen health and welfare benefits for 56 employees at a Wendy's franchise in Guam. A McDonald's manager in Oklahoma sexually harassed a 17-year-old girl, according to the lawsuit, after subjecting the teenager to sexual comments and innuendo for about a month. The male supervisor grabbed her by the waist in a dark, isolated storage shed and said he could rape her. When Archfellow LLC, the franchise owner, learned about the incident and other sexual harassing conduct by the supervisor, it failed to take prompt or effective remedial action to protect the girl and other workers. Instead, the company allowed the supervisor to continue supervising the victim and other teenage girls. An employee at Sun Chemicals manufacturing facility in Kansas City, Missouri, was subjected to a racially hostile work environment when a coworker verbally and physically harassed him with profanity in the lunchroom, followed him into the locker room, slammed his hand into the locker next to the employee, and called him the N-word. Supervisory employees at the facility were aware of that coworker using the N-word in the workplace on multiple prior occasions, but failed to take prompt and appropriate corrective action. When the employee complained about being racially harassed by his coworker, Sun Chemical retaliated by issuing him a written warning for using profanity against the harasser. A manager at a Chipotle in Lenexa, Kansas, repeatedly asked a Muslim employee to remove her hijab, pressuring her to show him her hair. Despite the teen's rejections and complaint to management, Chipotle failed to act to stop the manager's harassment, and Chipotle's inaction resulted in the manager escalating his abuse, ultimately grabbing and forcibly removing part of the teen's hijab. After the teen reported the incident, Chipotle again failed to take prompt corrective action and instead retaliated against the teen by refusing to schedule her to work additional shifts unless she agreed to transfer locations, while allowing her harasser to continue working at the same location. Just really, really terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. And that's what bosses do every week. Every week.
And it's sad that there's always a lot of lead-up time in most of these situations. And it continues, does not get addressed, and then this happens.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.